This is the Redline. I am your host, Jimmy Red. This is episode 2. I have a very interesting show for you guys this week. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed last week's. This weekend's going to be just as good. It's got a lot of stuff to tell you about here. We got some mega fight between Mayweather and McGregor. We got the NFL. We got trades in the NBA. So let's start the show off by let's go with this Mayweather-McGregor fight. Huge, big deal. Everybody was very intrigued by it. They all wanted to go see it. Everybody paid for it. Nothing's going on. Of course you're going to pay for it. There's preseason football. Nobody's intrigued. Basketball's over. We're still progressing. Football's right around the corner. So what are you going to do on a weekend? You're going to watch this mega fight. So you buy it. You buy it, and the revenue goes through the roof. I mean, it's the biggest fight ever sold. They revenued $700 million from this. The second one was the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, and it only got $410. Everybody won in this deal. Everyone. Not just the fighters. Everybody. Besides the fans. But I'll explain the fans here in a second. Everybody won because they got paid. The fighters got paid. Boxing looked good again. MMA looked like they could actually have a fighter be able to fight and step into the ring with someone. Everybody who promoted it was loving it, and it was amazing. The people who were there loved it. It was just an awesome promotion deal. The only fans that really lost weren't really the fans that were there. It was the fans that purchased it on the UFC website or Showtime or California or Florida, because they lost connections for all of that stuff. I purchased it on the UFC website, and we could not get logged on, so we lost the whole first match because of that. I understand you have technical issues. That's fine, but it was a heartbreak to a lot of fans, and I saw what was posted on Twitter and all that, and it was very hard for not very liking from people, which I can respect. You spent your hard-earned money, and you couldn't see the fights that you wanted to see. Also, some people paid for HD. They couldn't even get it in HD, so they paid the full $99 for the fight and only got to watch the standard definition that cost $89. So they paid the extra $10, and they didn't even get to see the high def. Pretty upsetting. I can understand where they're coming from. You want to see the fight in the best quality, and you want to get your money's worth. I respect that. Mayweather won the fight, 10 rounds, over McGregor. It was a very good fight. Mayweather just went out there and just kind of bebopped around for the first 5 rounds because he wanted to burn McGregor out. He knew what he had to do. He knew that McGregor didn't fight no more than 25 minutes in his whole career. So he says, I'll go out there, I'll block, I'll let him throw punches here and there, and I'll back into the corner, and I'll look like I'm doing something and not get hurt real bad. But once he burns himself out, it's game on for me. If you listen closely during that fight, you heard his dad, Floyd Mayweather Sr., say, round 4, turn it on. Well, guess what? He turned it on around round 4 because round 1 through 5, McGregor outpunched Mayweather by 11 punches, 51-40. Round 6 through 10 was 130-60. Mayweather outpunched him by 70 punches in the second half of that fight. That's crazy. He was burned out. He couldn't hardly raise his hands up in the last 2 rounds. He couldn't keep them up. He got hit and rocked in the last 9 punches that considered straight to the punches were Mayweather to McGregor. He never threw a punch, and he stopped him. So I can see where he jumped in to stop the fight. He saw that he got rocked backwards. And in a boxing match, if you're not blocking or defending or throwing back, there's no reason why the ref shouldn't stop it, because then you're defenseless. And from that can come concussions, slurred speech, and all that from down the road. So I see exactly where the referee came from, but at the same time, you should have at least let the man hit the mat or had a little bit more of a demeanor to show he was actually knocked out. He just kind of got rocked backwards in a direction. So I respect the stoppage, but at the same time, I don't. Do I think that he was going to come back and win that fight? No. I think that he was done for, and he was probably going to get put away in the next round. But it would have been cool to see what would have happened if he would have touched the mat, because would he have got up? Would he have laid there? Would they have stopped it? What would have happened? It would have been cool to see. I got the fight totals here from that. And Mayweather landed 53% of his punches. McGregor landed 26. Well, 58% of the power punches are what Mayweather landed of his. I mean, Mayweather took 261 power punches and he landed 152. McGregor had 334 power punches and landed 84 for 25%. So, with total numbers there, it was 170 landed for Mayweather out of 320, which is a 53% landing of punches. McGregor hit 111 out of 430 for 26%. You can't say, well, he got beat by that. Well, I mean, yes, he did. But a professional boxer, Manny Pacquiao, who was a fight for Mayweather, only landed 81. And he took one less punch. He took 429. McGregor took 430. So Pacquiao only landed 19% of his punches. And he's a professional boxer. And this is against Mayweather. So the defense was there. And I think that McGregor did a very good job doing that. He did all of his work in 10 rounds. Pacquiao did all of his work in 12 rounds. Big difference there. A lot more time to throw punches, a lot more time to move around. McGregor said he wanted to keep fighting, which he's a fighter. I respect that. But I also respect the judge's deal of stopping it. He said he was upset by the stoppage. Obviously, he's a fighter. Like I said, I'd be upset by it too. The really part that disappointed me is the seats weren't completely filled out like they were supposed to be. You thought this was going to be a sold-out deal. Well, it wasn't quite sold out. It was almost there, but it wasn't there. They had 14,623 total fans there. The T-Mobile Arena will hold 20,000. So they were short at least 5,400 and some change. That's a lot. There were seats on eBay going for $2,500 for the very top row of this fight. But you could have got tickets that had better seats at a lower level for under face value off of StubHub. And they still couldn't sell out. If you say boxing's dying, I don't think so. Because the Triple G fight that has tickets that are more reasonable in a person's price range, which is coming up here probably in the next, it's not probably, it's in the next month at the same arena, has sold out. Boxing's not dying. Boxing's still around. The price was too high for the precedents of this fight. They both wanted too much money. Dana White wanted too much money. Everybody did. So, they couldn't sell it out. But they sold a lot of pay-per-views. The TV money came in. That's where they made all of it. Not all of it, but a majority of it. Also, Mayweather made money off the side of it by having endorsement deals and having a hat right after he won his match come out with the 50-0 logo on it that sold minutes after the fight was over. The estimation of the money he's made just after the fight and not principal money was $25 million on top of it. It's a heap of money. So I want to switch tactics here from the fight to another thing going on that has a little drama involved in it. Let's go with the Cavs and Boston. Cavaliers and Boston had a trade right after I got off the air last week. And they traded Isaiah Thomas from Boston with Jay Crowder, Zerchich, and the 2018 Brooklyn Nets unprotected first-round pick to the Cavs. In return for Kyrie Irving. Sounds like a great trade. Sounds like the winning team there is Boston, by far. But today, the Cavs come out and say, no, hold on, time out. We have till Wednesday to stop this deal if we would like. We need more. The reason we need more is, remember when Isaiah Thomas went down in May? Got a hip injury. Still not fully recovered from that, and they gave him a physical, and he wasn't quite to their standards. So they contacted Boston and said, we would like to have Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. I don't know if they're going to give up that option. They probably won't give up any players, and I wouldn't argue with them for not doing that. They'll probably receive maybe another second-round pick out of it, just because they're pushing the issue. But I don't think they'll receive another player. You can't give up players because of another player's injury. Because Isaiah Thomas is going to recover, and he'll be fine. So they'll give him a little something, but they won't give him everything they ask for. And the reason they have to is because everybody in the league knows that Isaiah Thomas is damaged goods right now. He's hurt, and everybody knows that. And you can't keep Kyrie in Cleveland, because that's not going to work. So Cleveland will get a worse trade for bringing Kyrie back, because everybody will know he can't play there, so they have to get rid of him. And Isaiah Thomas will go back to Boston, and he'll feel like he wasn't wanted, so he won't play probably as hard as he could have if that would have never came out. And another reason they needed to make this happen is because Kyrie Irving is a superstar. There's not very many superstars in this league. I mean, there's a few. You have LeBron, you got James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. Superstars. How often do you have a shot to get a superstar on a team? With Gordon Hayward and Brad Stevens, they can contend in the East against LeBron and the Cavs. Even with Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder, they can contend with them. Reason being is because Kyrie is a superstar. When he goes to Boston, he's probably going to average almost 30 points a game and have almost 20 triple-doubles probably in the year, and be a candidate for an MVP race because he's not the second man behind LeBron. They have to land him if they want to be candidates to fight for the East. If they don't, then who are they going to chase? They have no one else to go after. So, you have to bring in someone to fix the situation there, or give them something, which will be a pick. I want to go over to the NFL here a little bit, discuss a little bit about that. Preseason week 3 just happened. We had a few injuries there, but I don't want to start off with the injuries. I want to start off by first giving thanks to the Houston Texans and the Dallas Cowboys for giving Dallas, who has been devastated here over the last few days by this hurricane that is striking their state and these major cities they've had. The Cowboys and the Texans have both offered $1 million per team, Houston and the Cowboys, to give them to help rebuild their city. And J.J. Watt himself has offered $100,000 separate of that. So a big shout out to those guys for the love they give to their community. I want to give that out there to them and say thank you very much for that. I'm not from Dallas, but that's awesome to see a sports team do that. Back to the injuries. There were some big injuries this week in week 3 of the preseason. Julian Edelman, wide receiver for the New England Patriots, goes down with a torn ACL in his right leg. That's very big for the Patriots and Julian Edelman both. The reason it's big for the Patriots and Edelman is because he needs to be there for Tom Brady. Tom Brady will find a guy to fill that hole. I mean, Chris Hogan looks fine already. But Julian Edelman led the team with receptions 3 out of 4 years and was targeted on 24.3% of Tom Brady's throws last year. He was third most in the NFL. Third most. That was his favorite target. Third most out of the whole NFL he was. It's going to be hard to fill. It's going to be very hard to fill. But you also have to remember, they went out and got Brandon Cooks. So they have another good receiver that he can throw to who was already going to be on the field with him. He'll probably just receive more targets this year, and Chris Hogan will look good too. Another injury, you have Tyrod Taylor with the Bills. Concussion protocol, you can say it's going to take 1 week, 2 weeks. Every player is different with concussions. You don't know how long it's going to take. He could miss the opener. He could not. Spencer Ware with the Chiefs. He went down, and he did, I think he did a left leg to his MCL. He's expected to miss a couple games there. I think they said he'd be back by about week 3. You had this is not injuries here. This is cut players. We lost a few of those. Ahmad Brooks got cut from the 49ers and is currently in talks with the Packers. I think he would be a great fit there. He's a veteran. He could go play with Clay Matthews and Joe Thomas. Great linebacking core, and if you add him to him with his experience, amazing. The Browns came out and said that Deshaun Kaiser, the rookie they drafted in the second round out of Notre Dame, is going to start the season for them. I think that's pretty amazing. They're putting a young kid in to take over the franchise, but the problem is there's been 27 different quarterbacks for that franchise since 1999. To name a few of them, you've had Tim Couch, Trent Dilfer, Brady Quinn, another Notre Dame alum. You have Brandon Weeden, who had some snaps last year, 2 years ago for the Cowboys. You have Brian Hoyer, who is now a starter and looks really good where he is. You have Johnny Manziel, who they jumped up in the draft to get. Then they had RG3, and now they're going to try Deshaun Kaiser. Well, who knows? He could be the one who puts them in the playoffs for the first time since the team's returned, or not in the playoffs, to win a playoff game since the first time the team has returned to the series in 1999. To me, I think the kid's got the talent to do it. Hopefully they see that in the kid, and hopefully he doesn't go there and that's his dying resting place, because that's where a lot of quarterbacks go to die, is in Cleveland, and I would not like to see that happen. Andrew Luck, quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, expected to not start in week 1 for the Colts. They said that he will be on the PIR and not play week 1. I think there's something bigger going on there than that. I think he might have a shoulder issue that they're not disclosing, which I hope they don't, because that could be a big problem. And I think it's really going to hurt the Colts' chances this year to do anything, because it takes a couple weeks, maybe even longer than a couple weeks, for a team to get back into rhythm with this guy. I understand they're professionals and they know what they're doing. But to get back into a rhythm, you have to have time. You have to have reps. And him taking the time off that he has taken is really going to hurt his reps and his timing with his players. So Andrew Luck being out, it's going to make it a really tough battle for the Colts to make the playoffs, even though the AFC South is a very weak conference. They have Houston, Jacksonville, Tennessee, and the Colts. Tennessee and Houston are going to be pretty good this year. The Jags might even climb up and be a number 3. My favorite to win it, though, is definitely Tennessee. Marcus looks very good. The Colts could possibly sneak into a second place there if they can beat out Houston and sneak into the playoffs with a wild card. But I don't see the Colts winning their division, especially with Andrew Luck missing as much time as he has during the offseason and missing week 1. So you basically think that he's going to get his reps and be ready to go by about week 4. So I think that the Colts have to figure something out there to make it to the playoffs, because Chuck Pagano has really struggled the last few years. That's all I have for you guys here today. But I do want to, before I go, give one shout out to Japan. for winning the Little League World Series. They beat Texas 12-2 in 5 innings to win their 4th Little League World Series. So congratulations to Japan. And I am Jimmy Red, the host of the Redline. Tune in again next week. Thanks.